cat show or you've been showing cats for years, when it comes to your first show that you have to travel to, it can be really hard to know what to pack and what to take with you. So let me help you. In this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare and pack to take your cat traveling to a cat show. I'm going to be covering the things you need to get you there and the things you need to set up when you arrive. I'm also going to be covering the things that you're going to need for the actual show. And lastly, I'm also going to cover the things that you're going to need to take for yourself. I am going to help you with the stress of getting everything ready to take to a cat show when you're traveling. And I'm also going to help you with making sure you don't take too much, because there's nothing worse than dragging everything there and realizing that you didn't need it and you just have to drag it all back again. So, where do we begin? Let's start with the things that you're going to need to get yourself and your cats to the show. The first thing I'm going to show you is this is the suitcase that I take for myself. And this is the suitcase that I'm going to be taking for my cats. Now I'm taking 3 cats with me to a show in Sydney. I live in Perth, Western Australia, and the show is in Sydney, New South Wales. It is about a 4-hour flight. So there's also travel time in between in the car at either end, and it's just a lot. This is the suitcase I'm taking for the cats. Oh my goodness, it's huge. It's the biggest one I own. I'm going to pack a lot in there, but I have to make sure that I'm also careful about weight. So when you're taking things for the shows, you need to make sure that you take the lightest version of the thing that you have. I'll be traveling on a plane. Now in Australia, our cats travel in the hold. If you're in other countries, you may be able to take your cat in the cabin, but I'm going to tell you what we do when we prepare our cats to go in the hold. It's actually my preference because, as you can tell by the size of this particular crate, the cats have a lot of space. They have a lot of room to move around. It's like they've got their own little cabin in the sky. Now I'm taking an adult cat and I'm taking 2 kittens. The adult cat is going in this big carrier, and the 2 kittens will each have one of these smaller carriers. This is a PP30, this is a Pet Explorer crate, which is specifically made here in Australia, and they're amazing. One of the things I do with my cat carriers is I personalise them. Now I've done this for many years. We used to be able to put covers on them. We're not allowed to have covers anymore, but I make sure that there's something about my carriers that says this cat's a little bit special. I want people to know that this is a show cat. I want them to know that this is an expensive cat. I want them to know that this is very precious cargo. Now, I also think that your average domestic cat is very precious cargo as well. So this is a trick that you can do with whatever type of cat you have. But I like to have things like I've got my name on here, my business name on here. You could put your cattery name. I've also got this carrier is a very standard carrier. It's got little stickers all over it with little cats on them. I just try to make it a little bit personal so that it says this is a cat that's owner is picking it up at the other end and is going to be cranky if it's not in perfect condition, basically. So how do we get them ready for the cats to go in? Well, the first thing I use is a puppy pad. Now this is just a standard puppy pad. I folded it in half, although for the big carrier I might not have to. Folded it in half, and this is going to go on the base of this carrier. This is so that if the cat pees, it's going to soak it up a little bit. Probably not perfectly, probably still going to get some pee on the cat and on the cat's bedding, but as much as possible it'll stop there being a big puddle in there and making a big mess. So that goes on first. The next thing I have is I have a towel. Now I have lots of old towels because I own a day spa, so I've got loads and loads of towels, but they are really good to put in there as well. This is the towel. Now this towel is a little bit heavy, so if you have towels that are lighter, they make a better option if you are getting close to the weight limit for the cat carrier that you have. This particular one here, I think I can go up to 10 kilos for the cat and for the bedding and for the carrier. I'm taking kittens in these and they won't weigh that much, so I'm good. Then on top of that, I have a little fluffy pad. I call them binkies, I don't know why. A binky from Temu. This is just a little Temu one. It costs a couple of dollars. If it gets thrown away, that's fine. But these are really nice and soft. They've got a little bit of padding and they give them just a nice soft cozy thing to sleep on. Also, if the cat wants to, it can crawl underneath and make itself a little cubby as well. So that is what I will be packing in the bottom of each of these carriers in order to get my cat safely over there as dry and as clean as possible and make sure that they're still warm and comfortable. Something else I'll do before I put the cats in, not directly before I put the cats in, I normally do this the night before, is I give them a little spray with Fellaway. So Fellaway is a pheromone spray. It's just meant to be calming for them. It makes them feel like it's more comfortable. It's kind of the equivalent to them rubbing their face on things, literally. And putting this spray onto the bedding before I put the cats in there is a great idea to calm them down a little bit. I don't like to do it just before I put them in because it is a little bit stinky and it has an alcohol base. I do it at the night before so that it's still there, it's still making them feel good, but it's not too strong for them. And I also take it with me and I will use it to spray when I get to the place where they're staying, just to make sure that they're comfortable there as well. So Fellaway spray is always a good thing to pack. When you're travelling with cats in the hold, you need to make sure they have water available to them. In Australia, the airlines will make sure that you definitely have water before they'll accept your cats for a flight. These are the water containers that came with my Pet Explorer carriers. I have a lot of these, so I have 3 of these. I'm going to use 2 of them for the Pet Explorers and I'm going to use 1 of them for Herbert's PP30 as well. They just clip onto the doors on the inside and they have this little ridge around them which helps with spillages, because if you're traveling with cats on the plane and you fill the water up and it's too full, it'll just slosh around and make their bedding wet, and then they'll get cold and they'll arrive wet and it can damage all of your grooming efforts as well. So we want to make sure that that is less likely to spill as possible. These will still spill if the cats get jostled too much. But what I like to do is I like to put a little bit of water in there so that it's not full to the brim. And then when I've checked them in, I say they've already got water. They can see. Sometimes they will still fill them up. You've got to try your best to hopefully not have that happen. But if they do, they're only going to get wet at the front. And if you have that puppy pad in there, it's going to soak it up. So make sure the puppy pad is to the front a little bit so it can soak up in the water. A little bonus tip for you here, if you have checked baggage, you can take some scissors with you. Scissors are great because when you travel with the cats in the hold, they will use cable ties to seal up their carriers so that they are definitely nice and secure. Often when you get there, they will clip them and take them off for you, and they have pliers there to do it. If they forget, or if you forget, having scissors means that when you get to wherever you're going to go, you can just snip them off. It also means that in the car, when you first pick them up before you get to your accommodation, you can snip them off then if you have to. Say for example, your cat has soiled itself and you want to do a quick changeover of its bedding, you can do that in the car if you've got scissors. Don't put them in your carry-on, they'll take them away. Next up, what do we need when we get to the actual accommodation? Now, whether you're staying in a hotel, an Airbnb, staying with friends, you're going to need somewhere to put your cat. They can't stay in the cat carriers the whole time. What I like to use is pop-up tents. I've had various ones over the years. I've had hexagon ones, I've had short ones, I've had tall ones, I've had ones I've joined together. I've had really, really big ones. I have tried everything. But the ones I'm using at the moment, and I really like these, are ones that I got from Temu, good old Temu. These ones are kind of like a rectangle shape and they're just a really good size, and you can join them together. And they also come with a separate little secondary pop-up, which is where I put the litter tray so that it stays nice and clean in that small area and doesn't get out into the main pop-up tent that I'm using. I'm taking 2 with me because I've got a couple of cats. The cats I'm taking, the 3 cats that I'm taking, 2 of them are currently living together, so I know they'll get along fine. The 3rd one will probably get along with them too. He'll be next to them, and if everybody's happy, I will join them together and make them all, you know, like one big one. But I've got 2 that I'm taking. I have shown you these before in a video, and I'll make sure that I link to this. I've shown you these, I've had them in my car, and I've taken a kitten up north, and I've had my kitten set up, and they're amazing to go in the car. They also come with these waterproof bases, so these are really good too. So depending on where you're staying, especially if it's something like an Airbnb or a hotel with carpet, you're going to need to make sure that you're protecting the surface that you're putting the pop-up tents on. So this is really good because this is a waterproof base. But also another thing you can do is get a garbage bag. Use those scissors that I talked about before. Cut the garbage bag into one big sheet and put it underneath the pop-up tent. I'll tell you a story. I remember a lady who went to a show and she took her stud cat with her, and she didn't take anything extra or was prepared at all, really. She had her pop-up tent there with her cat in it. He sprayed everywhere. and it all went in the bottom, and it all went in the carpet in the hotel, and the hotel had to have specialist cleaning done on the carpet, and she had to pay for that. So make sure that you're putting something underneath. If it's on carpet, if it's on wood, if it's on anything, it just makes it so much easier to clean up. Remember that you'll probably be checking out, and the time between checking out and getting the cats into the carriers, and then you have to quickly pack everything up because you don't want them to be staying in the carriers for too long. You're going to need to have an easy cleanup at that point. So everything you can do to set it all up to make it easy to clean up at the end, you're going to be grateful that you did. So I have 2 of these. Just let me show you. This one's still in its packaging. This one, where's the zipper? Okay. They come in a bag. These ones, I like these ones because I've had previous the hexagon style ones, and they take up a lot of space in the bag because they're very big when they're folded up. They're not heavy or anything, they're just big. These are just a small bag like this for a great big, there's 2 pop-ups in this, a small one and a big one. So that's pretty good size. This is the smaller one. And of course you have to be ready to get them back into this size when you put them back up again. This is the larger one. I will show you these. I have a video of these all popped up. These are the stick things that go inside them. That's where the weights come from. So these will fit really easily into my bag, and I don't have to pack them in this bag. I can pack them into the bag separately and fit things around them. So that's a tip as well. So when you choose the type of tent that you put your cat in when it gets to the accommodation, choose something that's lightweight, will pack down into a small size, is easy to put up, easy to put down, and that's the best choice. Whatever type of pop-up tent you use, make sure you pack it well in advance and make sure it fits into your suitcase so that you can be sure that it's going to travel well with you. I have seen other people travel with their show crates and use their show crates for keeping the cats in the accommodation, putting the cats in their carriers, quickly packing up the show crate and taking it to the show. That's another option as well. Something else I take to go with my pop-up tents is fold-back clips. And I've also got these, I don't know what they're called, sort of grippy clips as well. These are really good for doing things like taking 2 and putting them together. The sort that I have has 2 separate pieces to it, a large pop-up tent and a small sort of toilet tent. They attach with Velcro, but if I want to, I can open up the door of any of them and I can join them together and then put fold-back clips around the inside of the door to keep them clipped together. So I've got fold-back clips for that. I've also got these because sometimes maybe the cats, it's cold where they are, maybe they need to have something draped over the top of their pop-up tent. These little, I don't know what they're called, grippy clip things are really good for holding things in place, and they'd be really good for doing things like putting the extra towels you might have over the top, clipping them in place so that they don't fall off, clipping things together basically. So it's always good to have stuff like that. In this little bag I've got fold back clips, I've also got safety pins, and a few of them are always handy to have as well. Now, how do we set up their tents? Well, we're going to need a litter tray. Like I said, mine has a little separate toilet section, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a puppy pad in there, and that will keep that toilet section a little bit cleaner. Then I've got some trays that are larger trays, so these are a little bit bigger. These ones, you can also use your cat show trays as well. You just have to be ready in case they've used this and soiled it. You'll have to empty it out and clean it the morning of the show as you're going to the show in the morning, which can be a really hectic time. So I prefer to bring a second one. In this case I've got 2 because I'm going to have 2 tents. And this is really good to just have there, and it stays there the whole time. And it's suitable for my big cat and for my kittens as well. Is it the right type of tray size for a cat long term? No, but it's good for overnight. I've also got a bag of cat litter. Now this is the paper litter that I use. The paper litter is really good for traveling. It's just really good. It's not too heavy, it's absorbent, it's not too fine that it makes a big mess. I just think that this is the best type of litter for traveling. And let me tell you a story. Take some with you. The reason I say that, my habit used to always be, I don't want to take a big bag of litter with me, so I'll buy a bag when I get there, use what I use, and then I'll chuck away the rest or give it to someone at the show, whatever I don't use. And that worked fine for a really long time until my flight was delayed, and it was delayed a lot. And I didn't get in till very late, And when I got in, I had to drop some stuff off, drop the cats off, drop some other people off before I could go get some litter, and everything was closed. Even though it was Sydney and I assumed everything would be open, no, everything was closed. So I had to go to a service station, and all they had was a bag of horrible clay out of pool guidey type litter, really messy. My cats didn't like it, I didn't like it, but I had to have something for them to use that night, and it was really stressful trying to find it. So now I travel with a bag of litter. I'll also use this bag of litter when I go to the cat show, and I'll take this with me to fill up their trays at the show. But it means that when I get to the accommodation, as soon as I get in there, I can just quickly get their tray ready. It's good to go. I don't have to stop on the way anywhere. I don't have to do anything. I can get my cats sorted as quickly as possible because they've had a long journey. We have to remember that it's not just 4 hours flying for them. They have to be there sometimes 2 hours before, sometimes 90 minutes before. And it does take about at least 45 minutes to an hour to actually drive from my house to the airport as well. So by that time, they've been there for quite a while and they're going to want to use the tray. So I make sure I have some litter with me. And you might be thinking, but it weighs so much. Well, if I actually go over on my big bag and I have too much weight in there, I can always put this in my carry-on because my carry-on's normally a bit lighter than the limit for that. I'm really, years of judging and going to shows has made me very good at packing very light, and I will sacrifice something of my own to make sure I've got what my cats need when I'm going to a show with them. So you've got your cats all set up in the pop-up tents. They've got a litter tray, you've put some bedding in there. I normally take the bedding from their cat carriers, and that's what goes into their pop-up tents so that they've got something nice and cozy there as well. Next up, you're going to need to give them some food and some water. Now, one thing I've learned over the years is that in those pop-up tents, sometimes they can be a little bit unhappy, or just because there's not a lot of space. If you have a really big water dish, they will spill it. And once they spill that and their bedding gets wet, you've got nothing for them until you can get it dry. And depending on where you are, that may not be so easy, especially if you're not staying somewhere if you're staying somewhere in a hotel where you don't have access to a laundry, then that's going to be a big problem. So my recommendation is that you get some small bowls. I'm taking these ones as just little IKEA bowls. These are going to go in with water, but I'm only going to fill them up to about there, just a splash in each one. And I'm going to let the cats drink that, and then once they've drunk it, I'm going to fill it up again. They never go without water, but sometimes it's just a little dribble in there, so that if they do spill that, it's not going to be a big deal. It's not going to make the whole thing wet. It's not going to mean that they have no dry bedding to sleep on. So that's a really good idea. And sometimes I'll also have a little bowl of water, and I'll just have that there, tip it in, check on them, tip more in, just keep topping it up rather than give them a whole, even that's a small bowl, but even that full of water would make a really big mess in a pop-up tent. If you're keeping them in a bathroom or some other situation, completely different story, but that's a good idea. You can also take disposables. I know people that have taken disposables. I did do it one year. I didn't love it. I was happy just to use these. I think if you don't want to have to do any dishes and things, maybe if you were staying in a hotel where you didn't have access to a sink to do that, then that would be a good idea. But I'm normally staying in Airbnb, so there's plenty of options for cleaning stuff up. One thing I won't do in an Airbnb is I will not use their bowls and things that they have for people for my cats. I think that's rude. So please don't do that. Now, what are we going to do about food? For food, I take these little bowls. These little bowls are just bowls I got again from Temu. And these ones are really cute. And they're a good size for a British short hair because British short hairs have quite big heads. We want to give them a nice bowl that they can fit their head in, but we want to have an edge to it so that they don't push it off the plate. So if you give them a flat plate, they push it off and the food goes everywhere. If it has an edge, that's great. But you don't want something like a deep bowl because they can't fit their head in there to eat all the food. So these are perfect. These are like the most perfectest bowl. I've got loads of these from Temu. I'm taking them for dry food and I'm taking another set for wet food. So they'll have a bowl each. I've got extras if I need to as well. They're really easy to wash up and clean. So that's what I'm going to be taking as food bowls. I'm taking a couple of sachets of food. Don't go overboard. Think about what your cats eat at home. How much do they eat at home? My kittens eat about half a sachet of food each per night. So 4 is 2 days worth, you know. I'll probably take a few more than this, but just don't overdo it. Don't take the whole box. And also, I've never met a cat that I've taken to a show who's eaten, maybe Cuthbert did. I think Cuthbert might have been the only one that did. But my cats don't eat when we arrive. They don't eat the first day. They have no interest in it. They might snack on a couple of biscuits. I've even tried creamy treats with them and they've said no thank you. So I don't take food thinking I'm going to be feeding them and getting them to eat on the first day. They can have some kibble the first day. They've had a big stressful flight. Let them calm down. The next day they'll eat their wet food. So don't take too much because these are pretty heavy and you'll just end up bringing them back again. I have never come back from a show without bringing some food back with me. I've never run out. I've never had too much. I've never had not enough. I've always had too much. The other thing I take is their dry food. I put it in a Ziploc bag and it's good to go. Do not take a big bag of it. They will not eat a big bag of it. Why are you taking a big bag of it? It weighs a lot. So this is probably enough for them. They don't eat that much. You need to sort of think about what do they eat at home? How much food do I give them at home? And take no more than that. It's not like they're going on holiday like we go on a cruise and we start eating, oh yeah, let's eat everything. No, cats are the opposite. They actually are harder to feed when you've been traveling with them than normal. I will also take a couple of creamy treats and I will also take a couple of the kitten ones as well, just to make sure that everybody's eating and everybody, if they decide not to eat anything, hopefully I'll be able to tempt them with something like that. If you normally feed your cats fresh meat, you can have a look in advance and see whether or not you would be able to purchase that when you arrive. I know people who will take a small cooler bag and it will have frozen meat in it that will be defrosted by the time they need to use it. That's an option as well. My cats do normally have some fresh beef, but I don't worry about that when I'm traveling. We just go for the commercial straight up in the pouches and the kibble and everybody's great. Just make sure though to use the regular food that you feed. Don't go and buy food specially for the show. The last thing you want is a cat with diarrhea at a cat show. The last thing I want to show you for the setup that you have wherever you're staying is a cleanup kit. Now this is always in my show bag. It's now coming with me to travel as well, and it has some things that you'll need. I have some wipes, some antibacterial wipes. These are great for just cleanups basically. I have some doggy bags, doggy size bags. These are great for if you have a poop or something that you just need to seal it up and get it away. That's a really great idea to have them there as well. I have some more of those that I'll put in my show bag. Even more of them. Then I also have a roll of bigger bags. What I'll do with these is I will use these if some bedding gets soiled. I will use these if there is a litter tray that needs to be emptied. Often in accommodation, I will have my cats in an area, or sometimes I like to have them in the garage if the garage is closed and lockable. And I will keep a bag there that I'll dump the litter into, seal it up, and then open it up, dump it in, seal it up, and that way I can put it all in the bin together the next day. So bigger bags are a great idea as well. And lastly, I have some of my True Eco spray. Never leave home without this stuff. Dog and cat cleanup. They have the little bottles, and I often refill these because I use the concentrate version. So these are amazing for spraying when you're traveling. If you do have accidents, the last thing you want is to be stinking out the accommodation, because you will, if you've paid a bond, you might lose your bond. They may charge you a cleaning fee. All those things can happen. So you want to keep it as clean and smelling as fresh as possible. So you're having something like this on hand, which is the enzyme cleaner. It eats away the smell, literally. So I always make sure I have that. Now let's look at the things we need to take for the actual show itself. This is something that I have made a video on before, and I do suggest you check that out. This is my grooming bag that I take to shows, and it's also all set up to take for traveling shows as well. It is something that I will use when I get to the accommodation to make sure my cats are in the best show condition they can be in. Remember, you have spent a ton of time and money to get your cats to a show that you've got to travel a long way to. It costs me thousands of dollars to do this, so I make sure that my cats are as good as they can be when I get to the show hall. And I've already gone through all the contents of this particular bag, but it's a really great one. It's again from Timo. You can hang it up. I hang it up on my cage as I'm cleaning my prepping my cats for the shows. So it's just a really good, it's just a toiletry bag. So yeah, it's a cute one and I like to use that. But I do have a video already on what's inside there. Next up, let's talk about bags. Now, when I go to a show here at home, I take a great big bag. It's got wheels, it's got a big handle. It's my Royal Canin show bag and it's stuffed full of everything. I do not want to take that with me when I am traveling. It is way too big. I know a lot of people do take their show bags with them. I just think it's too much to take and then bring home when you've got all the cats as well. So what do? I take a bag like this, just a simple bag. This will be my bag that I'll take my things in for the show. And I might put some of my cat things in there as well. And then I also take these fold-up bags. These are from Royal Canin. I have got so much Royal Canin stuff because I'm a Royal Canin ambassador. But these bags, they fold up. They're like a plastic shopping bag. Fold up small, really, really light as well. And you can take a few of these, and I'll use these to stuff things like my curtains and things like that in there. And my grooming bag will fit in there as well. Then when I come home, if I won any prizes, hopefully I've won some prizes, I'll have some more bags as well. These ones are the ones that they're currently giving out at shows when they give out gifts. So I'll take a couple of those, but I'll also take these ones, which are my older ones. I really love these bags. These are the perfect size for everything and really lightweight as well. So I'll take 2 of these and maybe take an extra one of these as well. But I like the idea of walking around with these because then it doesn't look like I've stolen everybody else's gift bags. So yeah, a really lightweight bag is a really great idea because you never know how much stuff you're going to have to bring home from the show. I also like the fact that these are a big, open, wide bag. Shove everything in there, get home from the show, sort it out when you get home. So they're great to have in your suitcase too. The next thing I want to talk about is very Australian. In Australia, we have metal cages at our shows and we put cage show curtains in them, and the judges come to our shows and judge the cats from our cages. It's called Australian style bay judging, and that means I'm going to need to take curtains. Now, I'm not taking the cages though, because the cages, they are huge, they are heavy, and there's no way I'm dragging them from Perth to Sydney. So I'm hiring the cages at the show hall, but I need to make sure that I've got my own curtains to fit them out for the cats when I get there, so that they'll be nice and comfy and warm as well. Now, I have got a couple of sets here. The first set I've got here is a gorgeous orange pair. This is for my chocolate boy, Larry. Larry's going to be on orange, which is going to be a really interesting combination. These were given to me by my friend Melanie, and I'm really excited to have them at the show so that she'll be there with me. The next set I have is for my boy Herbert, red. Herbert's been shown on red a lot. It's a really good colour for him, and I'm excited to put him on these. Next up, we have my little baby boy Sebastian. Now, these curtains, you may have seen these before because I actually made a video while I was making them. And I think that Sebastian, who is a blue and white bicolour, is going to look amazing on these curtains. If you want to see how to make them, I'll put a link to the video so that you can check that out. Then I have another set. I'm only taking 3 cats, but I'm taking 4 sets of curtains. Why? Well, in case there's a problem. I'm taking puppy pads and other things to make sure that everything's clean in the cage. But if one of the boys does decide to spray on his curtains, or I've had other cats spray into my cat's cage and spray on their curtains, or if they do a bad poo and it gets on the curtains, then I want to have a spare set to put on. I also want a bag to put the dirty ones in. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But that's why I'm taking an extra set of curtains. Now you can see that this all takes up quite a bit of space. I've got a secret weapon. This is a fold-up vacuum bag. These ones come in a lot of different sizes. This is a large size, but you saw that I have a really big suitcase. I will stuff this full of curtains, neatly folded, and then you roll it up. Oops. You seal it up like a Ziploc bag, and then you roll it up, and then the air comes out of this lock at the bottom. So this way around. You will roll it up, and the air comes out, and so you don't need a vacuum cleaner to actually create a vacuum bag. They are also going to keep them sealed up and clean, and if they get dirty when you're traveling home again, they'll be sealed up in there as well. Good idea there to take a couple of extra Ziploc bags, even if they're not these sort, just Ziploc bags in general, that you can seal some dirty stuff in like that, because it may be that the time between you packing up your stuff and leaving and the cat's soiling something in their pop-up tent, there may not be enough time to get it clean. So have a Ziploc bag, you can just shove it in there, seal it up, and you're good to go home. So these bags are really great to keep everything as small as possible so that you can fit everything in your suitcase. The next thing I've got is these cage signs. These are, again, very specific to Australia. These wrap around the cages and do up with clips, just regular fold-back clips. And these will stop the cats from coming into contact with the cats next to them. So basically, cage size, super important for Australian shows. I have 4 of them, again, because if something happens, now I don't expect anything to happen because I'm taking a big D-sex boy and I'm taking 2 young kittens, but the older kitten is getting up to adult age. There's a very tiny chance that he might spray in his cage, so it's good to have an extra one just in case. There we go. Next thing that I have, I'm taking, remember when I made these, if you watch the video, which you can go and watch, I made like a pillowcase style of cover for the bases of my show cages, because I normally have a great big show cage base, which is about this thick. I can't take all of them to Sydney with me. So what I'm taking instead to go in the base of my cat's cages are these bath mats. These are from IKEA. They're just like a bobbly bath mat. They're a bit thick, so they're nice and, you know, plush for the cats to sit on. These are going to go inside the pillowcases that I've made. Calling them pillowcases because that just makes sense. They'll go inside there, they fit inside there perfectly, and then I've got a base for the higher cages that I'll be using over there. They're also pretty good for washing and drying as well. And after I've finished, I've got another use for these. I can use these in my stud pans, or I can use them as something else as well. So they'll be handy to have. So I've got 3 of those, 1 for each of the cages that I am hiring. A few more things that I'm going to take to use at the actual show. Now remember this bag, it had all my cleanup stuff in it. I will take that with me to the cat show in case we do have any accidents. I can keep them all clean, and I've got little baggies there for everything to go in. I'm also going to take my bag of litter. I might top this up if I buy some over there, but I'm going to take a bag of litter to fill up my litter trays while I'm at the cat show. And I make sure I take enough in case everybody goes and then wants to go again. The next thing that I have is I'll take some puppy pads. These are going to line the show cages before I put my the mats that I have in the pillowcases. They'll go on the bottom, but underneath that I'll have these puppy pads. What I will probably do, and I tend to do, is I will unfold it, put it on the bottom of the cage, and then I will put my litter tray on top of that with the litter in it. Let the cat use the litter tray if they want to, because they do tend to hold on a bit while they're traveling, and then just suddenly they'll go when they don't normally go in show situations. So I'll make sure that they've got the litter tray and the puppy pad, because even though this litter is very absorbent, the last thing you want is for your cat to pee in the tray, get pee feet, and then get them all over their bedding. You want them to stamp it out and dry their feet on the puppy pad, and then you're good to go. It's always a good idea. So I do that pretty much at every show, and I'll do that at this show. The other thing I'll be taking is the little water water containers that were on the cages. I will be taking these and taking them to the show and using them on the show cages for their water for that situation. Then the next thing that I'll be taking is the litter boxes. I have these litter boxes which I got from a discount shop here in Perth. These are a really good size for my cats because they are very big cats. They're like a deeper litter tray, and they also like to sleep in them. So, you know, people get upset about that. Look at that cat sleeping in its litter tray. I've given them empty ones, they don't sleep in them. I've given them full ones, they do sleep in them. If I give them empty ones, they'll pee in them. I don't know. I just give them a litter tray with litter in it, and if they want to sleep in it, they can. If the cat's happy, I'm happy, and that's all that matters. These are a really great size. They fit in the show cages nicely, but they're still nice and deep, and they don't take up too much of the cage, so the cat's still got a bit of room as well. Then the last thing in here is these things. Every cat has a little bag, so these are all the little bits that go with their cages. I've got fold back clips in here that will, enough fold back clips for every cat to hold those cage sides in place. Sometimes I have coloured clips if I can get them to match. Then I've got a couple of little toys. These are the little toys I'm going to be using for Sebastian. He likes to play in his cage, so he'll have fun with that. He's got a little dangly decoration as well, and he's got his cage number holder. He's in the navy blue, so I've got the navy blue cage number holder to hold his number in place and look nice and pretty. Each cat has one of these. So Herbert has one that is red, which is going to match his kittens, and we've also got the orange for Larry. Larry's got sort of a browny orange looking coloration there. He's got gorgeous copper eyes and brown coat, So he's going to look really good with these. This was another gift from my friend Mel, so I'm really excited to use that at the show. I like that, it's sentimental. So each cat has their own little bag, and what that means is I can pretty much take a bag for each cat. I might even take one of those red bags, Royal Canin bags, for each cat, just fold it up in my suitcase. Then on show day, each one can have their curtains, their little bits and pieces, maybe even fit their litter tray in there as well, their water dish, and then I can go from one to the other and set them all up, get them all ready, put their bag away, do the next one, and go like that. Because when you go to a national show or an interstate show or a travel for a show, basically, it's an unknown venue, it's an unknown setup. If you run late because you don't know where you're going, if you get there and there's a big queue to get in, you don't want to be stressed out when you're trying to get your cat set up. So anything you can do here before you leave to make it easier then when you're at the show, I would definitely do it. It means that you'll be less stressed, less worried. You'll be like, well, I've got the bag for this cat, this cat, and this cat. Let's all put it together and we're good to go. So that's my stuff that I will take for my cats at the show. Now we come to the last part of the video where we're going to look at the things that you will take for yourself. So these are things that I'm taking for me to the show, just some extra bits. Now obviously I will be taking my own stuff. Got my own little tiny suitcase. I'll be filling that with my clothing, and because I'm a Royal Canin ambassador, I will be wearing my Royal Canin gear, my jacket and everything for the weekend, which makes it very easy when it's choosing what you're going to be wearing. Then I'll take my bag. I normally don't take my normal handbag because it's normally full of stuff. It's my work bag, it's got lots of stuff in it, it's heavy. I don't need to take all of that to a cat show, especially if I'm traveling. So I will take a smaller handbag, or I won't take a handbag at all and I'll put everything into this bag, which we talked about before. So what are the kind of things that I take extra? Well, something that I forgot to tell you about, but I'll put this in my bag, is my cat's vaccination cards. You really need to take them if the show is asking for them. That way, when you go through vetting in or whatever, you've got them there. And yeah, I would actually take photographs of these before you go, because if you do lose them, you've got the photograph there. And I would even email it to yourself and give someone else at home a copy as well, because there is no more drama than having no vaccination cards and having your cat refused to come into the cat show hall when you've spent all that time, effort and money to get there. That is not what we want. So vaccination cards. Some other stuff that I take for myself, I take snacks. I take snacks because, you know, the food at the show hall, you don't know what it's going to be like, and I just like to have snacks. So I'll just take myself these in my suitcase and then I'll just pop them in my show bag so that I've got something to snack on at the show. I also take my own coffee cup. I really like this coffee cup. You might have seen me in videos when I've been at cat shows judging or just doing other things, and I've often got this cup with me. In fact, this is the second one because I left one at a cat show and I liked it so much I bought another one. This keeps my coffee really super hot. I love it, and I also especially love about this one, it's got a handle. And guess where I got it from? Yes, I got it from Temu. I like to have this, and what I'll do when I leave the accommodation before I go, again, you never know what the coffee's going to be like at the cat shows. It might be horrible, it might be a huge queue, there might not even be coffee. So I do also take some of these, which are coffee bags, depending on what you know about your accommodation. If your accommodation says it's got a coffee machine and it's got pods and everything and you're good to go, fine. But I always take these as a backup, and I will make myself a coffee and take it with me in the morning when I go to the show, so that, again, with all of that stress of getting everything ready when you first get there, it's really good to just know that you've got the coffee. Yeah. Depending on where you're traveling to and what time of year it is, I take an umbrella. I'm definitely taking one of these to Sydney because I think it's going to come in handy. And I'm also taking a notebook and a pen just in case I need it. And I always take my cat show purse because I don't like to take all of my credit cards and things to a cat show. Cat shows are a bit, there's not really anywhere secure to put your things, and we tend to think, oh yeah, it'd be okay to just chuck my stuff under my table or whatever. People get stuff stolen all the time. So I take a purse that I take all of my stuff, I leave all of my stuff in my regular purse, and I just take my cat show purse, which might have a credit card, maybe my driver's license, and a little bit of cash in it to buy raffle tickets, and that's about it. So that if I do lose it somewhere, it's not the end of the world. So that's another good tip as well. And aside from that, really I'll just take the stuff that I would need to have myself day to day to be alive. Okay, So I think I've covered everything you might need to take to a cat show when you're traveling with your cats, and hopefully that's going to be helpful for you. I also have some videos that would be really good to watch because they will help explain some of the things I've gone through today. I have a video on, we talked about how to make cat show curtains. I've got that video. I'll put these in the description of this video so that you can get the links. I also have a video about how I set up the pop-up tents, and they're actually set up in my car for taking a kitten on a road trip, but they're the same ones that I'm going to be using for this show. I have another video I'm going to share with you, and that's a video about setting up your cat carriers. It's setting up a cat carrier for a kitten to go on a flight to its new owner, but the same thing absolutely applies to flying your own cats when you're going for a show. I'm also going to put the links in there to buy all of the crazy weird stuff that I get from Temu, because I know you're all going to be wanting one of these glittery glass cups to take so that you can, be like me. And yeah, that's basically everything to tell you. Oh, there is one last thing that I always take to a cat show, whether it's here, there, or anywhere else, but I always take my ears. Okay. Hopefully I will see you at a cat show, or if you've been to a cat show, tell me about the cat shows, because I always love to hear about what you guys are doing. And if you want to find out anything else about the resources that I have, about my new Cat Breeders Club, about my podcast, any of the stuff I do, visit my website. I have a links page that has everything you need to know on it. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description of this video as well. Okay, hopefully that was helpful to you, and bye for now. Still feeling unsure or overwhelmed as a new cat breeder? You don't have to figure it all out alone. My checklist, guides, and tools are waiting for you. Visit the resources page on my website. It's linked in the description.